Hey there, and welcome back to Cosmic Crypto. In this video, we're going to be looking at Ravencoin, RVN. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Let's go. Okay. Just want to preface this specific video with, I'm not a financial advisor, just a dude on his computer. So yeah, don't put all your money in based off of what I'm saying here. Anyway, yeah, so I was looking at the Ravencoin chart and I wanted to jump back to the weekly where we've been looking at this for quite a while now. And I've always thought, okay, we're in this long triangle that's kind of playing out here, and we've got multiple touch points on the bottom and multiple touch points on the top. And when we came up and got rejected off the 7 cent level up here, as we're doing right now, it kind of confirmed this triangle for me personally, in my opinion. And then I started to dive a little bit deeper into what I think is going on here. And I noticed a couple of things that are actually making me super bullish again on Ravencoin. Just as bullish as I was as we were breaking out of this bump and run pattern over here and retesting it perfectly. So let's get started. First off, on the weekly time frame, we had this resistance on the RSI down here, and we kept hitting it, and we finally broke above it, which was when we broke above on this bump and run pattern. Then we came down and we retested the bump and run pattern, and at the same time we came down and retested the previous resistance on the RSI. So that's good news. And the better news is we then, after we retested the RSI trend line here, we shot up to the upside and broke above the 50 level on the RSI, which was very important in my opinion. And so that we did that. Let's zoom in here on this candle right here. Now this is the candle, this is a weekly candle. We didn't quite make it to the 7 cent level, but we had a nice move. This was one of our bigger moves this week right here. Even on the braid filter, it shows it green on the a green histogram, and our volume was decent on that weekly candle. And then we finally went up and we hit the resistance level that I've been talking about for quite some time here. Now, after this massive run up from, let's just go from the breakout point from this bump and run pattern in the retest. I mean, just that alone was almost a 200% move. Now, if you go up 200%, there's going to be a sharp rejection down. And the best point to get that rejection would obviously be at the top of this resistance line that we have here. Now, I've been kind of estimating that Ravencoin would have this breakout and shoot up to roughly around 60 cents. And if we get even more bullish, we'd come up to the $1.60 range. And this is actually playing out really nicely. What I was tweeting earlier is if we come down to roughly 3 cents, just over 3 cents, I'm going to start loading up again. Now, we got a nice support here, and I'd also said earlier today that we are at our 4 cent level here. We're hitting really nice support. So we had resistance here twice on the weekly, and then we finally broke through. And we never came back down to retest it until this last week when we dropped. We finally came back down and we retested that, and we closed right above it on the 618 as well on the Fibonacci, which in my opinion is pretty bullish. And as well, we didn't even come back down totally to retest the 20 EMA. We still haven't gotten down there yet. Now, that is still possible. So just keep in mind that we may be getting a nice bounce right now. We're up to just over almost 2.5% right now. We're getting a decent bounce, but you're going to see that after a massive drop. And plus, it was weekend price action. So, you know, the weekend price action pushed us down. Now we're on the weekday, right? Yeah, we're on the weekday, and so, you know, we're going to get a little bit of a bounce here, but I do expect us to hang around here a little bit longer. Now, if we get a big push to the upside, that's even better, but I don't think it's going to happen. And what we're doing now is we're coming down and we're retesting that 50 line on the RSI, which is good news. Now, this is all going to be dependent on what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin has now dropped below 20,000 and below 19,000. I've got a suspicion that Bitcoin might be dropping even further. And if it does, it's going to bring the whole market with it, including Ravencoin. And that's when I think that Ravencoin is going to come down and retest this 786 line down here. But as it retests this 786 line, I think there's going to be a really big buy. And there's been a lot of people in the market think that Bitcoin is going to drop below 17,000 where we went before. I think it was like 17.5. It very well might. I think it at lowest might go to 13.5. Probably only 14 or 15 because everybody else thinks it's going to go to 13,000. And so they've got a lot of buy orders down there. But if it does do that, I think it's going to be a really big wick to the upside. I think there's going to be a lot of buyers stepping in, and there's going to be a massive wick, and the same thing is going to happen for Ravencoin as well. And to prove my point, this is a theory, but to prove this theory, I'm going to go back in time. So we're going to take a step back and see what happened back when we had our massive run. This run up from the very bottom of the double bottom that was formed was 2,200%. And so I decided to go back in time again and just kind of see what similarities we had in previous time. We had a massive fall. We tested the support line here. Then we went up and we got rejected off of resistance, which then brought us back down to form this double bottom. And then we went up again, and again we got rejected at resistance. And I'm going to zoom in really close here because it's difficult to see. But we had this massive wick the very next week. So we got rejected off resistance again, a little bit higher than this resistance. And then the next week after that, we fell all the way down to the 786. So if we put a Fibonacci on this just as well, we fell to the 786, just below it actually. And then the buyers stepped in and bought it all up. Then we had an indecisive candle right here on the weekly. And then the very next week is when we saw a massive move to the upside. Again, if we look down at the RSI in this area, you can see some similarities happening. Let me kind of bring this up. So here's our double bottom. As we came down, then we went up, we broke above the 50 line EMA right here. We came back down to retest on this fall. We retested, then we broke above again the MA. We broke above the moving average here, not the 50 line on the RSI, but the moving average. Then we came back down to retest, and then we broke above the 50, and we came, and this was actually even more bullish. We didn't even come all the way back down to retest the 50. We just shot up after that. But there's a lot of similarities in the RSI here on what's going on. Excuse me, sorry. Just trying to gather my thoughts here. It's been a long day. So then we broke above the 50, we came down to not even retest, and then we shot up. But what's most important to me is this long wick on this candle right here. And this is going to be, in my opinion, the make or break for Ravencoin. If we're going to see any kind of move for Ravencoin this year and going into next year, we're going to have this week and next week is going to be very important for the move. So I see similarities, a lot of similarities with this double bottom happening right here, and then we shoot up and we have this massive run. Now we come back down here, we had a massive fall, we tested the support line right here, we went up, we hit resistance, just like we hit resistance right here, came back down, we created a double bottom, we came back down and created a double bottom, and then this candle right here went up past that previous resistance, but then got rejected. We went up past the previous resistance right here, and if you can see this tall wick right here, we got rejected and got pushed right below that resistance again. And then on this next candle, we finally broke above it with a candle body, but we also had a massive drop. And actually, that candle body was formed afterwards, but we broke above it again, and we had a massive drop. Well, we broke above it again, and now we're having a massive drop. And this is playing out in a longer time. So, I mean, from the very bottom here, just to create this W pattern, it took us 84 days. If we come back here, well, maybe it's about the same time. Let's go from there to the double, no, 56 days. And actually, I think I did that wrong right here. We're looking at creating the, 70 days to create the W pattern here. And I think it was 84 days to create the W pattern here, 84. So this is taking longer to do. That's why I think in the next 1 to 2 weeks, we're going to get this big run if it happens. Now, I would not count out a big drop down to the 786 again. Now, it doesn't have to do the exact same thing it did before. You know, what is that saying that everybody says? History doesn't always repeat itself, but it rhymes or something like that, whatever they're talking about. You know, it could rhyme and we could come back down. Otherwise, maybe we just keep moving up. But I got a good feeling that on top of the retest here of this W pattern, which we never did, we're retesting it right now, and the similarities between the previous massive bull run that we had for Ravencoin and what's happening right now, and the fact that we're getting close to the end of our triangle pattern here. All these confluences coming together are forming this theory that I have that either we have found the new local bottom for Ravencoin, or the new local bottom for Ravencoin will be around just over 3 cents, but that'll be bought up really quickly, and then that's when in the next 3 to 6 weeks, let's say, maybe 4 to 8 weeks, we see a big move to the upside, and we finally get this breakout above our level here, which actually would be perfect because, you know, in order for us to reach this $1.60 mark, the breakout time in my, you know, from my charting here would be around October 3rd. You know, that's just, we got this week, the next week, and then we're there. And so that's when I had anticipated the breakout to happen because, you know, it lines up perfectly with my price target out here. If you don't know how I got this price target out here, go ahead and look at my other videos. It's just a Fibonacci line that I placed, and that's where it went out to. But the confluence with this triangle pattern also says that that's a price target right there. But realistically, I do think that 60 cents is a good price target. This is, in my opinion, the most bullish price target we can get for Ravencoin, but definitely around 60 cents I do think is possible. But we are at that turning point right now where we really need to see this 618 hold, or we need to see a really good bounce off the 786. If we start closing a daily and a weekly candle below the 786, that's when we should all start worrying about Ravencoin for the long term. Because what that is telling me is not only did we not close a body candle up here at the top of this trend line up here, that just tells me we're losing momentum to the upside and the bears are continuing to push us down. And what that can do is it can make us dance around here at the bottom for a while. And worst case scenario is we fall through to the downside of this triangle pattern and we come and retest, you know, the penny level down here, which, I mean, the price target's actually quite a bit lower, but then we're looking at Luna status, you know, when Luna dropped to under a penny, and I don't think that that's possible for Ravencoin unless something just dramatically breaks. But you can also look here. I mean, this what we're retesting right now is something that has been support back here, you know, support a little bit here, resistance here, resistance all the way back here. Back in 2019, it was resistance 1, 2, 3, finally broke through. So, I mean, this is key level of support that we're on right now. And so just pay attention closely in the next, you know, 3 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks, something like that, for either falling below and closing candles below the 3 cent level or below the 786 level, the lower 3 cent level, or starting to get our move back to the upside. That's very important. Anyway, hope you liked this video. Yeah, I've been kind of holding on to all this information in my head all day today, so it's kind of scrambled in my mind. It's been a busy day, so hopefully I said everything clearly. And if you have any questions, or if I didn't say anything clearly here, please leave a comment down below. I'll try and clarify what I'm talking about. And yeah, if you like this video, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and all that other good stuff. I'm not a financial advisor, just a dude on his computer. Talk to you later.